I applaud and I admire you, Abby, for being an adult that still goes on vacation with their parents. I think it's awesome.
When your parents offer a free trip to Napa, it's going to be pretty stupid to say no.
Right. There are some people that have relationships with their parents that are so bad that it doesn't matter what the parents offer, they're not going. But you went.
Yeah, well, I mean, my family's relationships are transactional, so it works. But I was really proud of me and my mom because we've come a long way in our relationship. I really like my mom. We have come a long way in the sense that we're becoming more friends, and we're in that transition phase where she's starting to see me more as like an individual, an adult, and less of like that parent-child relationship. And also I think moving away has been really good for us too in terms of like that separation. And of course, like any mother-daughter trip, you're a little worried, there's going to be some alcohol flowing. Our old wound's going to come up. Are we going to have a couple of brawls at the wineries down in Napa? And we only got into one. And it's coincidentally the only night that tequila was involved. Me and my mom, we went to this restaurant that I was so excited to go to. It's this Italian restaurant in Napa called Bottega. It was Michael Chiarello's restaurant before he passed away from that allergic reaction. And so we're sitting at the bar.
What does a bartender do in Napa when somebody orders anything but red wine? He must have been like, tequila? I think there's somewhere up here.
He was so excited. He kept asking us to take shots, and I was like, we're in wine country. I don't want to drink tequila. But we were sitting next to this couple at the bar, and they were there celebrating their 20th anniversary, and they were telling us their love story, and they were so flattered that we listened to their entire tale and were like engaged in it, that they were like, we're buying y'all tequila shots. What they don't know is that my mom hates tequila. I have a love-hate relationship with tequila. It's my favorite liquor, but it's been doing me pretty dirty recently.
For people like us, it's tough. It makes us feel tall and big.
Yeah.
And that's bad.
So she orders these tequila shots, and I'm like, I'll just pretend to take it. But then they bring them around in these beautiful like mini coupe glasses, and they pour dry ice over it. So now they're steaming. And so 4 glasses of Savi B Deep, I'm like, oh my God, this looks so fun. And so I'm like, I can't not take the tequila shot. And I shouldn't have taken it because that's when things started to go downhill.
You got to chase wine with tequila.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of standard.
Is it? No, nobody should do this after what happened to me and my mom. So I take the tequila shot, and my mom takes a couple of sips of limoncello. And my mom is a bit of a lightweight, more of a lightweight than me. So now we are both just like at the most unhinged level of white girl wasted. And usually when that happens, it's a very common thing to happen to single people. That's when the person you're sitting with, your friend, goes, can we get on your dating apps and swipe?
Oh, God.
That's
Okay, here we go.
As if we're going to go play Candy Crush or something. They think it's a game. I'm like, my personal life is not a game, Carrie. So I indulge her because I've taken the tequila shot, and we start going through my Hinge. And then things start to get progressively more heated because the number one thing people will tell you when you're swiping on dating apps is, you're being too judgy. You're being too picky. And in my opinion, if you haven't spent at least 18 months on a dating app consecutively, you can't have any breaks, 18 months, start to finish, you do not have any say in what goes on in the dating app world. You don't have the license to tell me what it's like to be on there, because I have been on here for a decade almost.
You haven't been in the trenches. Until you've been in the trenches and you've been taking the bombs, you have no room to talk.
You don't know what it's like. And
this is a war zone out here.
You get like this data of people, and so you start to know who to swipe left on and who to swipe right on instinctively, because you've witnessed so many people and you've been on so many dates that it starts to be like, okay, I'll fit with this person and I won't fit with this person. But if you haven't been on a dating app, you don't know that.
On the opposite of that, though, you don't think it jades you a little bit?
No, I don't think so. I think you just have so many options that you start to see people as archetypes. And I think that's what people see when they're like, you're being too picky, you're being too picky. And then on the flip side, the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my life walks into the restaurant with this group of like Gossip Girl looking friends. It looks like an episode of Gossip Girl. It's all these rich young people sitting at a big table like drinking martinis. And I go, well, that guy's really cute. And my mom goes, he looks like an a-hole. And I'm like, is that not the same thing? You're doing the same thing I'm doing on a dating app in real life. So I've decided to create a list of things that people need to stop saying to single people because you don't know what it's like.
All right.
The first one is, of course, you're being too picky, you're being too judgmental. I'm just using my common sense for what I know I like and I don't like. The second one is, just give him another chance. Again, to me, that feels very condescending, as if my intuition and my gut isn't a good enough reason to say no to somebody.
That's funny. I was just talking to somebody last night who gave a guy who she didn't have chemistry with the very first time that she went out with him. She gave him 4 different dates.
4 dates?
Trying to talk herself into like, he's got to be a good guy. I mean, he is a good guy, but he's just so boring. So she's like, maybe I'll get more excited on the second date. And then the third date. 4 dates.
Yeah, I did that this summer. 3 dates. And after the third one, I was like, strikes out, buddy. No, the spark's not there.
Life's too short to waste time on bad dates.
Exactly. And the third one, I want to say with a lot of love, because a lot of people said this to me yesterday after our ghosting segment where that man decided to just ghost me out of nowhere. I say this with a lot of love because a lot of people just said this to me. But when they say they're intimidated by you, no, they're not. They don't like me. They're not. I'm a big fan of embracing. He's just not that into you. Yeah. Let's embrace the rejection. He doesn't like me for whatever reason. He's not intimidated by me.
So I would say that you are not an intimidating person in real life. I think you're very approachable. I think you're fun. I do think that there's one part of you that would be intimidating for a guy, and that's the radio part.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, we're the bottom feeders of celebrity, but there is some that comes along with it. So maybe like, I don't want to get involved with her because she's going to talk about our personal life on the radio. That would be intimidating for a guy, I think.
That's fair, especially in your younger years, because you're doing it at a younger age. And I think it does take a lot of maturity to be able to deal with somebody in that position.
I think that makes sense if you reject me off the bat. But if you ask me out or we get involved in some way and then you all of a sudden ghost me, then it's not the radio. Then it's something. It's my personality.
All right, Kristen, make her feel a little bit better here.
All right, so I didn't even realize how perfect this was going to be. So I came across a piece of audio on Instagram, and I'm like, Abby needs to hear this. Every single woman and man needs to hear this. And it's from @STPHLIM. She goes by Steffi on Instagram. And it's all about knowing your self-worth. So that very first one you were talking about, like, give him a second chance. You know your gut. You know your intuition. You know when you're swiping left or right, what you're looking for. So it's raining. It might be a little hard to understand. So I'm just asking you to focus because she's walking in the rain post-date. And this little nugget of truth, I hope you absorb it.
So I'm just coming out of a date and he's never going to see me again. But he asked me a question that kind of made me go. He jokingly was like, oh, so who are these other guys that I'm in competition with? And I had to be like, other guys? No, you're in competition with me. You're competing against me because, listen, I'm great. I'm fun. I know how to do everything for myself. But what is going to make you special enough for me to want to share my life with? Like, this man was like aghast because he was just like, I was being dead serious. You guys have to remember, you're great, and I think the longer I'm single, which I think is like coming on it's coming up 3 years now. There's something else that like I love more than myself. I'm very sure of who I am as a person. Men are scared of independent women. Like, y'all should be. Like, if you are not coming in prepared and sure of yourself, then you're not game.
And that's 100% true.
I love that.
Yeah,
so
right?
You hear this from guys over and over and over again. That clip right there is so attractive to a confident man. To a confident man.
Don't go into her comments because there's a lot of unconfident men.
I bet.
I bet, right? But I mean, confidence is number one for most dudes that are that are healthy, right? Confidence in a woman. I love when a woman brags about herself. That's fantastic right there.
And I can definitely it's definitely better than saying, that you are in competition with a lot of guys, because then I think that actually brings out insecurities in them. Whereas I feel like this is more of a healthy challenge. Like, well, the only competition you have is me. It's a tough competition, but I don't want you thinking I'm out with a bunch of other guys.
Let me put it another way also that I felt over the last couple of years also when talking to other people, and I feel the same way about you also, is that I think when you have a certain level of values, I consider you a very quality person.
Thank you.
I really do. In a lot of different areas. You're confident. You're very capable. You're bold, even though you don't see it, right?
You're a go-getter for sure.
You're a go-getter. You're a freaking winner, right? I think it should be harder for you to find a good match than it is for other people.
And I agree. And it has been very tough. So I must be very more quality than I think I am. So at least that's reassuring in some way.
I was just going to say, I completely agree. I remember when I was in that space of being single for a long time and somebody told me the same thing. Like, it's supposed to be hard because it's one person you're looking for. There's a billion people out here. It's not going to be easy when you're looking for something special. But when you find it, you'll know.
The Bert Show.